Welcome to the renewed Dreamlet podcast, episode 1. And for this episode's theme, we're going to talk about New Year's and a lot of things relating to new things. So first off, Happy New Year. This is, I usually don't like dating episodes, but this is going to be the beginning of 2023 and basically the rebirth of my Dreamlet podcast. So Happy New Year. How are you doing? This is going to be with my guest, my friend.
Hi, my name is Okechukwu Owuchi. But yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, we've been friends for a long time, since high school. And we also do like a different podcast together with some other friends. It's called Imagine Blue if you want to check it out. We talk about movies and TV shows. But for this one, let's get into sort of like New Year's resolutions first, because I have something to say about New Year's resolutions. But what do you think about New Year's resolutions, Juku?
I think it's a good way to motivate people for the new year. You know, it's a good way to be like, hey, this is my plans. This is what I want to do. So it's a great way to start. You know, however, sometimes people, it's like there's a difference between motivation and discipline. So a lot of people might be motivated to do something, but whether they're committed to discipline, that's a whole different thing. And a lot of that kind of changes after the new year. But other than that, I do like the spirit of like, hey, you know, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to change in my life. And, you know, I'm going to go for it. So,
yeah, I definitely think that like that feeling and that motivation you get when the new year comes around is the best part of the New Year's resolution. But I think the structure and the methodology that people use is definitely flawed. And I think that's like where I want to tackle the most of. But first, I do want to talk about that new feeling a lot, though. Like, I feel like we've all experienced it, right? I've experienced it very strongly every single time like a New Year's comes around, and for sure, it's like it's great for like just changing some stuff up. At the same time, I do think the more often you can feel that new feeling, like try to trick yourself into thinking, oh, it's gonna be a new month or like a new week or a new day. And in those circumstances, it might actually be better to train yourself to think in those ways versus like a new year. The new year only rolls around like very, very, very slowly.
Yeah, I like that mindset. I often forget that. Just view every day like a new day. Like to me, I'm just like, oh man, this is a whole week, whole year. I can't wait for next year to make things better. But yeah, that's interesting.
But I think a new week is actually a pretty good one that I probably do the most of, because like I always like reflecting at the end of the week on Sundays. But that's just like a suggestion for like people who have, I've done it a lot, like who have often like they get that new feeling and it just doesn't stick at the end, you know? Like especially towards like the middle of the year, like things get really hectic for me. And then the whole New Year's resolution stuff. Yeah. Because last year I did make a resolution that I would try more voice acting, but I ended up not doing it because I was like, I'm going to do it towards the end of the year. But that's just like, yeah.
I mean, we had a lot of New Year's resolutions. Like I know for our other channel, we wanted to get at least 1,500 and we're only like 1,300, which isn't too bad, but it's, you know, no one expected the way things were going to turn out. So there's a lot of, you know, turnouts that, you know, change certain things. So yeah, I can feel you what you're saying.
Did you have a specific New Year's resolution for yourself last year?
Yeah, my specific New Year's resolution was to get out of my house and have like a more job towards my career. But unfortunately, in February when I got sick, that kind of ruined all that. So I kind of had to slow things down. Right. So that was a specific New Year's goal that I was looking forward to. But, you know, it is what it is. I'm just happy that I'm better. So that's what makes me happy.
That's good. Yeah. I also have a personal channel where me and Juku have talked about some other stuff similar to this format. But it was basically, you know, you had that stomach issue, right?
Yeah, stomach, sort of chest, mainly chest, but kind of stomach, chest. Yeah.
Gotcha. And I'm glad that you're better now, though. That's... Yeah, that's good to hear.
Yeah, definitely. So that's a super positive for me. So I guess for me, that's the only thing that's kept me very positive. Like before, I'd be more disappointed if I were to look at the results that I didn't, or at least the expectations I've had. But assuming that where I was way bad, I guess. And I think that's what comes down to a lot of times with New Year's is just progress. As long as you're progressing in some ways, I guess that keeps you in it for the long run. But when you don't see any progress, that's where
Yeah.
disappointment comes in.
Yeah, I think so. I did this last year too. This was part of my New Year's resolution last year, but I'm going to refine it this year. So the system that I came up with is very simple. It's basically every month, try to do, at least for me personally, I try to do one big project, one music project, and then the last one is like one like event that like big event that I will remember, you know? So it's a very simple format where each month you just do this one thing that will make you progress towards your bigger goals. So yeah, so that's what essentially my New Year's resolution is going to be, is just those three things each month. One big project, one music project, and one like, when I say memorable event, I think I want to specify that and say like one event that's like completely new, like a new experience.
Okay.
Like I think this year I did more like bouldering, and that was definitely a lot newer. I did bouldering only once last year. So 2022 was cool for bouldering. And then yeah, I think I'm trying to think of like completely new experiences.
I mean, does watching new movies count as new experiences?
I feel like no, not really. I feel like it has to be like an interactive experience where you're doing something that you've never quite done before. I'm pretty sure there's a couple more, but I didn't like prepare them for this episode, but I'll think about it. How about you? Do you feel like you've done anything like completely new recently?
That's an interesting thing. Well, I would definitely say like in terms of dieting, I did something new in terms of like eating certain foods or eating certain drinks. Like I've been consistently since the health stuff, but I would like to say around like I would arguably say around May, I've been consistently drinking cabbage juice. So that's definitely been helpful.
Oh, nice.
Which is funny because it's like cabbage juice, but
yeah,
so
yeah.
So that's definitely had effect on my health. Like it's like I mix it with spinach, so it not spinach, celery, so it like makes my blood pressure lower as well. So there's a lot of benefits to it. So I've been doing that, and then I've been consistently doing God, that's tough. I guess maybe editing. I've been doing more edits. Like, I mean, I've edited before, but I've been more like making sure I've been more like at least try to edit one video per week, even if it's something small. So I think
that's good.
Yeah, that's something I've been consistently doing, as well as debating on comments. Like now I'm really like debatative. Like anybody wants to challenge me on an idea, I'm really like, all right, argumentative. So I guess I've got more developed those skills recently. But yeah, those are the only new things I've done in a year.
Yeah, and I feel like for me, there's like doing something new, like completely new is I like it, you know? So like I played it's hard to define new, right? Because like board games, I played like 3 new board games in the past like 2 weeks, and I really enjoyed them. So in a way, that was a completely new experience. But at the same time, I played plenty of board games before that are somewhat similar. So yeah, it's a little tough to judge that, I feel. But I guess for my own personal thing, like per month, like doing a new activity, it has to be like easily definable as new. Like for instance, me like visiting a new country, that's like definitely for sure like super new, because I'm seeing new things, I'm in a place that I've never been before, stuff like that basically. So even trying a new food does sound like a new experience. So but I'll have to see where I'll figure out where that like definitive definition is eventually. But for now, I'll just leave it as broad, because I do think like making it somewhat broad is okay. Like one big project, it could be anything that I feel, I guess defining it a bit more, it's like a big project that I feel proud of, basically, that I want to show off. Because oftentimes I make like random videos or like I vlog on my personal channel, and I don't care to show that off, you know? It's not a big project, it's just me talking to the camera. But yeah, even in the case like where I created a Skillshare class recently, that was in December. It was about like filming yourself, like how to talk to a camera. And that actually got a staff pick, which was really cool. But
Okay, that's good.
but I didn't. But I don't necessarily feel like showing it off, or like, I guess I am proud of it, but like I would not have considered that the big project, if that makes sense. Even though it was an entire class that I made, which I probably should consider it a big project. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to like figure out exactly how you want to define it, but yeah, I guess at the end of each month, I'll just have to like decide, you know?
Yeah. I was gonna also say, because one thing I've noticed on your IGs is that you've been like working with other people on videos and stuff like that. So would you consider those like bigger projects?
Yeah, that's a great question. Jeez. I probably need to define it a bit more. Cause like when I help people out on film sets or something like that, it's like their big project, you know? Like, so I'm just there to help them. And I don't really think it's mine. Like, I guess for me, it's like, oh, I have to have that feeling of, oh, I'm super proud of this. I want to share this with everyone I know. Like, this is like something I feel very proud of, basically. So that is sort of the defining thing, I guess, as a big project for me, for each month that I want to do.
Okay. I like that. I like that kind of mindset. I mean, yeah, that's funny enough. That's kind of how I am with like videos, where it's like, for me, I determine a good video as something I want to share. Like, I really want to share and everyone put out there, as opposed to videos that I don't really consider good that I've made. It's just like, oh yeah, it's there. So I think I kind of do like that definition of, if you want to share it, that's something that you consider is like good worthy, versus something you just don't care about sharing. That's something you kind of just like put in the background. So I kind of do like that. Yeah.
At the same time, I do consider a project. So it's sort of like, it doesn't have to be a video. Preferably, it's not a video. It's something that's like a project that I always wanted to do, like stuff like perhaps writing a book. Like, I probably can't do that in an entire month, depending on how long the book is, or short story or something like that. I probably can do a short story in a month, but it's sort of like, in that month I completed the project. So even if I'm like working on it for a couple months, as long as I completed it during that month, it's like, it counts as the one big project. But yeah, that's sort of the system that I think, like, obviously you want to limit it. You don't want to be like one big project, one big music project, one new experience, and then you keep going on with that, and it gets too much. That's what I did the previous year. I made too many monthly like goals, essentially, and that sort of made it harder to achieve each one, you know, because you're splitting your focus so much. So yeah, definitely limiting it is like the ideal situation. But that's my proposal for a better method. Instead of doing like a New Year's resolution, try to do like a monthly sort of resolution where like,
okay,
you have 1 or 2 or 3, in my case 3, solid goals each month that gets you towards the bigger goal. Yeah.
Okay, I like that. I really like that. I honestly want to write all this down now. This is very, very informative.
Yeah.
But so is that like your resolution? So what about next year? Like, what are your resolutions you want to do for next year?
I guess that's sort of like my resolution, right? Is like, I want to do 12 big projects in that year, and 12 music releases where like I'm proud of it, you know, and then try 12 new things. So to define it a bit better, that's how I see it, you know. It's just one each month. Last year I actually made a similar goal with music. I wanted to release something every month. I only released, I think, 6 or 7 things 2022, so I didn't quite meet the 12, but I'm getting there in terms of like, I can keep it consistent, or I can do it more consistently, and I feel confident I can actually achieve it like this year.
Okay, that's definitely, I like that you really believe that you can achieve it.
Yeah,
so that's definitely, that's something out there.
Yeah,
I think for me, honestly, right now, besides like, you know, probably getting like a new job or whatever, but I guess something that's more achievable for me would definitely be for our channel. And I keep on plugging the our channel thing, but that usually comes up when I'm around Scott, is I definitely want to at least make one, if possible, one reaction video with you with whatever content we have. So like if it's like a CW thing, Scott's reaction to CW, or like Scott's reaction to this
Man,
scene.
you're
So I
never
just
gonna
wanna
get
do
me to watch
one.
CW again, bro.
It's just gonna be like, trust me, it's gonna be short. We're not gonna do like a whole show. It's just gonna be like a compilation, and then you can criticize why this was bad. So I want to get at least one reaction video per month if we can. So
Sure,
or at
man.
least or two per month, something like that. That's kind of my goal for the channel. So yeah, that's a New Year's resolution. And then I think another one personally for me would be traveling, because I don't really travel.
Yeah.
So I think next year I really am gonna try to at least go out of the state, like something like
Yeah,
that.
dude.
So
I think I already have like 2 new things covered for April and July, because in April I'm going to Japan, and in July I'm going to Singapore and Bali. So
ooh,
yeah, that's gonna
Bali.
be, yeah, my friend has a wedding basically. So
okay,
yeah, so that's gonna be really
that's
fun.
cool.
In terms of like the music thing, I do want to like reflect a little bit on the past year as well, because for me the music stuff, I actually managed to create like 5-6 ish originals for music. 4 of them are like piano originals, and then 2 of them are originals that I haven't quite released yet. But those projects, in my opinion, were like some of the most interesting ones in the past year that I had, because like I've never quite done it before in that way. So it's just like, it was just a fun experience overall to just like make stuff for piano. And the whole idea behind that, actually, like 5 of the 6 originals were made for my friends as gifts, music gifts, for their birthdays. So it's really, yeah, it's a really cool thing that I will look fondly on.
Okay, that's dope. That's dope. That's dope. Maybe next time I'm gonna ask you, hey Scott, can you give me music for my birthday?
It's actually hard because like you have friends that you want to make it for, but like their birthdays are so close together, and you're like, I don't have time to like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will eventually make a music gift for every friend that I have, probably every good friend that I have. It'll just like, it'll take some years.
That's fair. But I also think,
Yeah.
wouldn't also you have to cater the music towards what your friends like? Because like, for example, maybe you play some song that I don't know is like, I mean, I know this is probably not your genre, like country, but then I'm like, I'm not into country music. Why would you give me this, Scott? So it's like, so I think there's sort of a balance there.
Of course. I think at least for me, a lot of thought was placed into what the piece sounded like, what the piece was titled for each of my friends. Because like with one of my friends, we used to play a lot of Overcooked together at night. So I called it Game Nights. And the piano piece I made was like really based on repeating levels, game levels, I guess. But yeah, I guess I'll link some of my piano pieces down below. But yeah, each of them has a theme behind it that means something in our friendship with the other person. So yeah.
Ooh, wow. It sounds very anime, no lie.
Yeah, I mean the goal for me is to make music that's like, that could be played like a film score, or like for anime or for games or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's something I definitely want to get more into next year. I just gotta like stop being so scared of playing with other instruments, because I feel like, because I played piano for so long, I really just enjoy playing the piano, and I tend to not touch other instruments too much. But I gotta try. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do next year for sure. I think I'm gonna try the drums and maybe a string instrument next year.
Dang, don't you think it might be, I mean, not that I'm against this at all, but don't you think that might take a long time? Because it's like now you have to learn a new instrument and then try to balance it with the instrument you already know. Like,
yeah, I think for, at least for my purposes, I think all I want to do is get a feel for the instrument, try to understand each, like the limitations of it, try to understand like other players, or like how people, like for instance, I'm thinking drums, right? I'm thinking how each drum sort of fits in the kit, and like I was in Drumland for 1 year, so I guess I have some background in drums, but like just getting to feel them, play them, hear them, in person will give me a better idea of what to do when I'm sitting there at like in Logic or something. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see.
Yeah, so it's not like me trying to master the instrument. It's just me like getting to experience it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
I see.
that's definitely a New Year's resolution, I guess.
Would you be open to like playing music with somebody? Like, let's just say, like, hypothetically,
yeah,
I'm thinking
100%.
myself, like Peter right now, because my friend Peter that you met that one time, he's really into music. He's trying to grow a band and whatnot. So it'd be cool if I'd be curious to see how that would work.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like piano. I feel like not every band needs like a pianist. I think that's. I mean, I feel like I need more exposure to real bands, but when I
Okay,
see
that's fair.
people play, like I don't always see like a keyboard player, although definitely some do have them. But yeah, I'm definitely open to it. I feel like I need to get out there more and actually play with other people, and because that's an easy way to like learn about other instruments as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, anything from this year, like 2022, that was like cool?
Dang, I'm trying to think of something that I did. I would definitely say I spend more time with the photo booth job, so I was able to go to more cool events. The biggest one for me right now would be the Dodgers event because apparently J-Lo owns that event, so I was able to get a free performance from J-Lo, so that was cool.
That's cool.
But I think personally was like there also were two events that were more connected to my passions with film and anime and whatnot. One event was, I guess it was like a Legend of Vox Machina event where I didn't even watch the show at the time, but like apparently they had an event to celebrate I guess they're celebrating the fans that helped them create the show, because they asked their supporters, hey, here's a GoFundMe to help us create the show. So they supported them, and then they announced there's a season 2, and it was cool because a lot of those voice actors were voice actors that I grew up with. You had the person who does Future Trunks. You have the person who does the voice actor for Levi. You have the voice actor of sorry, not Future Trunks, Kid Trunks. My bad. Let me rephrase that. Kid Trunks.
Oh.
And then you had the voice actor of like Gara. So you had all these voice actors from like a bunch of shows that I grew up with that were all there to explain the show. And I didn't know at first
that's
that
awesome,
it was
dude.
them. But the fact that was them, as well as that the animators also created Korra. So it's like hearing all these stuff. It's like growing up with all that. That was a cool event to be in. And then another event that I went in, and I think this one's another highlight for me, was Netflix, because I used that as an opportunity to try to make connections. Like I was like, yo, man, you need a PA, you need somebody here. I'm here there. So I did get one email, which I am on the verge of talking to, but it was just cool to be in an event that, where I think like. So I would say that's a highlight for me of the years.
Yeah, I remember you talking about the Vox Machina event before.
Yeah.
But the one about Netflix though, I don't think I heard about that one too much. It was, you were just working like the booth and then like you were at the event, or was it like a different circumstance? So
the whole thing was that apparently it was Netflix 25th anniversary, which I didn't know Netflix was 25 years old, but I guess they were, before they were streaming, or at least virtual streaming, they were doing like Blockbuster, like they're getting like, you can get videos through the mail, I guess, or something like that. So that was the thing. So it was just basically a party, and in that party, I was just like, well, since there's a bunch of Netflix workers, I'm just gonna try to shoot my shot with everyone. Yo, you need a PA? Yo, you need a PA? You need a PA?
Yeah.
And eventually, one person said, "Oh yeah, we're looking for somebody." And so,
that's cool.
It was still a cool event. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I would say that's definitely a highlight.
Yeah, those are two really like. I like it when you get to meet new people and people who are like actually like sort of had similar experiences as you in terms of like working on video stuff, I guess, or filmmaking. Because the events where I attended, like a night shoot again this year, and then like my friend's short shoot for his school stuff, film school, like those things are really fun. It's just like talking to people who are interested in camera stuff or interested in audio or just like the whole experience of filmmaking, and it's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. I know, for example, when Peter, I always bring up Peter, but that's a good example because I remember when he came to your house that one time we were making the Cobra Kai podcast, it was just cool seeing him bounce off of you talking about the equipment and stuff. I'm just like, he's like a nerd, like, oh my god, you had this thing right there, you got that audio thing, and I'm just like, what the heck is going on? So it's like, it is cool to hear people like really are passionate about that kind of stuff. So I understand the feeling.
Yeah, I think for me it's interesting because like these are my interests, and I like talking about it, and I like knowing about it. But I guess for me, like filmmaking isn't exactly like my like the top passion, I guess, if that makes any sense. Like for me, it's more like music and stuff like that. But for me, recently I've been just noticing that I've been spending way too much time on filmmaking and video stuff, and I'm like, this is like counter to what my actual real priorities are, you know?
Okay.
So that's something I've been trying to like flip around. And that's one of the reasons this podcast exists, is because like I'm like, okay, I have these ideas that I want to express and these thoughts and stories and stuff like that, but I can't keep doing this in terms of making videos that that I script and that I like edit very, very like to the best of my ability, and do music at the same time. It's just too much. Yeah, that's yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I didn't know mainly sound was your thing, but I guess that explains a lot. So, okay.
Yeah, sound is definitely something is probably most closely related to music. So yeah, it makes sense that I like making things sound good.
Man, this makes me think. Have you ever tried to be like what's it called? A sound designer? So like you basically make the sound effects for like movies and whatnot, or shows or whatever?
No, I haven't tried that. I think my main goal is to just like make music that is like actually what they use in the film, like film scores.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I need to actually try that to know for sure, because it's something I say, but I know that I'm just saying it, and like until I do it, I'll know whether or not I actually want to do it. So the faster I actually get to that point, the faster I'll know.
I agree.
Yeah. But definitely for this year, I think that making piano originals and just like music stuff in general has been a good experience. But I should actually try to do it for like an actual, like maybe something that we create, you know, for fun, like a short film or something. Oh,
sure, for sure.
Or just find someone out there who needs a music person that's willing to take a chance on a beginner.
Okay, yeah, that also works as well.
Yeah. But other than like music stuff, I definitely feel like 2022 was actually a really good year in terms of just like events. Like I definitely feel like I've grown a lot closer to like certain friends, and just like have had a lot more memories and like hangouts this year compared to last year. Yeah, so I definitely think I'm happy about 2022, and I'm like looking forward to 2023 and making it like even better.
Yeah, that's the thing. And I guess one question I have is like, I know for you, like for example, one thing I think what helped you a lot with those hangouts was that you would take photos. So it's like kind of a thing where it's like you put yourself in a position where you almost have an objective there besides just hanging out. So I'm curious, how do you find that drive for motivation for just in general? Like, what would you recommend to somebody who's like, I want to do these kind of activities, but I have the hard time being motivated to do it. So what could I do to get motivated to do that?
Okay, I feel like there was two questions in there. The first one was about the camera stuff, right?
The camera was more of an example. Like it was more of
Gotcha.
like that's like your thing that helps you continue.
I see. Yeah. I mean, I feel like at the core of why I do the camera stuff is to remember this event and to also share the memories with other people. Because one of our friends from he wasn't in our high school, Matthew, one of our friends, he used to take a lot of photos whenever we had events. He doesn't do it anymore, unfortunately. But when he did do it and he shared those photos, I always thought like, wow, this is like great to have, you know? So
yeah,
eventually, like I did that for basically every event that I go to now. And whenever I share it, people are like really happy to see it. So I think it's just such a nice thing to have. And like, you can always look back on it too. So, but for me, like I don't necessarily do that as the main objective, if that makes sense. I'm there to actually
Okay.
talk to people, to have fun at the event, and yeah, and just like sort of enjoy the event myself. But
Okay.
when the event is not as interesting, I guess it does help to have like an objective where you're taking photos and stuff. But normally, I feel like you can make any event interesting as long as you have someone, like a friend to talk to, or even if even if your friend is busy, like you're attending a birthday party and like your friend is the ones who has the birthday and is occupied. Getting to talk to someone new is also very entertaining for me personally. So in terms of advice for others, I guess try to have a natural curiosity for other people, like just natural curiosity for like how someone is doing, what they're up to. See people as like, sort of think of them as like yourself. They have ambitions, they have stories, they have a lot to them, a lot of layers that you can figure out. And I think that will make things interesting.
Okay. I like that advice.
Yeah, I know it's not like, I know for some people it's a little harder, but like for me, I wasn't like always like this, you know? I was definitely on the shyer side. And I had to like sort of just practice talking to people before I got used to it and can do it more naturally.
Yeah, I feel you. I definitely think the job I've had recently makes me more shy than now. So it's like, it definitely helps me now talk to people even more easier. So yeah, I understand.
Yeah. It's just exposure therapy. You just gotta like keep exposing yourself to that situation, and eventually like you just get used to it.
For sure.
But yeah, this was definitely an interesting talk, just going over the past year. It was a bit broad because it is an entire year, but it's still like fun to just like think about the past year and then like think forward to the next one. But that's basically just my thoughts on like how to structure a New Year's resolution a bit better than just like making a formless goal or like a very difficult to achieve goal.
Yeah, I liked it. For me, it was a good learning experience as well. It was good hearing new thoughts. So yeah, I definitely enjoyed that. And thanks for having me on here.
Yeah, dude. Let us know down in the comments what your New Year's resolution is and how you plan on structuring it to make it a bit more viable. And if you enjoyed the episode, go ahead and give it a like and subscribe. I'll catch you guys in the next one.